Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to your calendars franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we took on the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round of playoffs, and it was quite the round for us. We managed to easily beat them, but it did start off a little bit slow because we did lose game one in overtime 4-3, but afterwards we found our defensive play quite a bit. We did play Nicholas in game one. We decided to go to Solovyov for game two, and he was absolutely fantastic, and he played 4 straight games because of that. So we've been a very strong defensive team after that first round, and hopefully that continues into the second round. But it probably will fall off a little bit because we are taking on a offensively minded team in the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, we have played them a lot over the last 10 plus seasons in franchise mode, but you can see right now they're averaging 4 goals per game, but they're also allowing 4 goals per game. So they don't really play a defensive minded hockey at all. They are just very good offensively. So if we can find a way to play that good defensive style we did in those last 4 games into the second round, I think we definitely have a chance to beat them. But obviously, it really depends if goaltenders like Solovyov can continue to play the way he is. Now, I think controversially, I'm going to probably start Nicholas in game one just like I did last round. The main reason why is just because I feel like Solovyov's numbers are going to go completely down the tubes if we put him in net against a high-flying offensive team like the Blue Jackets. But if for some reason Nicholas isn't able to do well against him either, then obviously we could go to Solovyov instead. But I just kind of want to see if Nicholas is actually ready to go back in net again, or if he still needs to have that time off and be the backup goalie for potentially the remainder of this playoff run. So excited to see what our team's able to do here in this second round. Hopefully we can find a way to get back to that conference finals again, because obviously we've been there so many times over the last few years. We have been in the Cup finals the last 2 seasons and still have no wins, so I'm really hoping that this is the year for this team. But here's what Columbus looks like, just in case you forgot. A lot of these guys have been on the team for quite a while. We have played a lot of these guys before, but they are getting some guys that are growing quite nicely, like this Kimo Kuka guy who's slowly potential. He's only in his second season, but he's developing quite nicely. 73 points in his second season, and you can also see he has 6 goals in 6 playoff games at the moment too, so gotta watch out for him, especially on that top line. Guys like Hakkarainen and Jacobson have been there for a long time though. Aside from that, though, you can see they do have good depth down the middle, but I'd say their winger depth is a little bit on the weaker end of things. Their defensive core is also quite weak, especially considering they're running Cameron Rutter, who used to play with us as more of a 7th defenseman. He's actually a top 2 defenseman on this team, which is kind of insane. So I do think we should be able to find ways to score goals on a team like this, but honestly, they could randomly stifle us defensively. And then their goaltending is interesting as well, as you have Moore, who has not been super good so far. They used to have Chimera when we played them a lot. So this is only this is the first season that Moore has actually been the starter for the Blue Jackets. So hopefully we can find ways to score on him. If not, they also have Zhurdev, who's 36 years old, but is a respectable backup goaltender. And they don't really have the best depth options. So I think we should be able easily to beat them, but it really comes down to if we could contain their offense or not. If we can't contain it, that's going to be obviously a really big problem for us, because I'd say we're more of a defensive team, but we do have games that we can score goals in as well, but we're definitely more defensive than we are offensively minded. So with that said, I think we're ready to get into the second round matchup. There was no comments really to bring up in the last episode, so I think we're ready to get into this. Like I said, we are going to try Nicholas in game one again just to see if he's actually able to return to form again, and if he's bad again like he was in game one of the first round, obviously we might honestly run Solovyov for a good chunk of this postseason, and maybe he's the guy going forward for this team for the rest of the season, because he should be retiring relatively soon. He was really good during the regular season for us, and like I said, in the playoffs, rocking a .973 with a .75 goals against average through 4 games, which is fantastic. I think it was in all those 4 wins as well, he didn't allow really any goals in the first period. I think maybe he allowed 1 first period goal through 4 games, which is also fantastic. So our team has been able to have that lead after 20 minutes or 40 minutes, and that's really helped us out in terms of closing down games. So let's keep the rest of the team the same like this. We did also make an adjustment where I think Scrivens was put onto the top line, so we'll keep him on that spot because he's actually been pretty good too for us. So Let's see if this team is able to maintain itself from last round. And like I said, if Nicholas plays bad this game, there is a good chance that I will return to Solovyov. It's just, even though Solovyov proved his worth in those 4 games, I just don't feel safe going up against a really good offensive team like the Blue Jackets. So let's get to game number 1. Home ice advantage, of course. They won their first round in 6. We won in 5. Let's see if we could build off a nice little winning streak that we've built together. Let's see what happens. Come on, boys, you got this. First period, game number 1. 2-1 us, not too bad of a start. They do open, they don't open the scoring, never mind. Lehman opens the scoring for us, so that's good to see Lehman scoring a goal. Has been kind of a little bit of a streaky player and dropping off a little bit as of late. Like, he's definitely a candidate to get moved off away from this team this offseason, so we'll see what we do with him. But anyways, he scores. A couple minutes later, Cameron O'Neill, I think his name was, or C. O'Neill, I feel like it's Cameron O'Neill, but maybe it's somebody else. Anyways, he makes it a 1-1 game, and then 8 minutes after that, Winchester gives us back the lead. So our depth is still showing up, which is good to see, because we have been getting lines that we don't normally get goals from, scoring goals, so maybe that will also help us in terms of our offensive wins. But shots are 16-10 in favor of us after 1. It's a 2-1 game, so not the strongest start for Nicholas, but hopefully he settles in a little bit more so in the second period. Second period, 3-2. Okay, still a pretty close game. Lockhart actually tied the game up at 2, but Ashton answered back 4 minutes later. It's a 27-18 shot advantage for us. So we're definitely outplaying them, but right now, it seems like for the most part, Moorer is definitely keeping his team in the game, and they are definitely getting a little bit opportunistic with their goal scoring ability. I haven't been sold on Nicholas in this game still so far, really, but he's doing a better job than he did against the Canes, I'd say, in game number 1. So let's see what happens in this third period, see if we can find a way to hold them off and win this game. Come on, boys, let's get that insurance marker. I don't care who it is on our team, just give me an insurance marker. Power play for us, and we do get that insurance marker. It's Ragnarsson on the power play. Makes it a 4-2 game, so that's a pretty big goal at this point in this one. Final few minutes, Johnson makes it a 4-3 game. That's not great. Can we still hold them off? The answer is yes, we can. So it was a little bit of a tight game, but I do like that we were able to, for the most part, maintain our offensive and defensive play. It's just more obviously giving up 3 goals against on 27 shots isn't the craziest results. Like, we were definitely getting better results with Solovyov, but it is a nice little win for Nicholas to at least maybe give him some confidence going forward. Final shots 36-27, and we win by only a goal. So this is probably going to be one of those series that goes 7 games, just based on that first game, in my opinion. So in terms of our goals, we had Lehman from Ashton and Dempsey, Winchester from Lindsay and Savage. Then we had Ashton from Ragnarsson and Lehman, and Ragnarsson from Makinen and Houghton. So a couple different lines showing up. Love to see it. A couple guys on 2 points, Ashton, Ragnarsson, and Lehman. A lot of guys on 1 point. And Schaefer was a -2, but he did play 32 minutes, which is the most by any player, I think. Yeah, Schaefer played a shit ton of minutes that game. 32 minutes, the next closest was Houghton on 23. So Schaefer would be bound to be a minus player just because he's out there for literally almost everything in the game. Like, more than half the game for Schaefer. Crazy. But that's the type of minutes he's going to be putting up for this team, I guess, right now, because he's technically the best overall defenseman on the roster right now. And yeah, Nicholas rocked an 889, which isn't fantastic, but he does get us to victory. So I'm almost debating keeping him in for game 2, which is a little bit weird considering I really liked how Solovyov played in the first round, but I do feel a little bit on edge putting in a low-end goaltender against a very good offensive team like I've been mentioning. So Ragnarsson gets first star, Ashton second star, Lehman the third star. All those guys with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 1 hit, except for Lehman, who did not register a hit. All right. How was the face-offs in that game? We outwon them in face-offs as well. Okay, that's a good thing. Probably because Makinen's good on face-offs, Ashton's good on face-offs. Like, a lot of our centermen are good at winning face-offs, and that is not what I wanted to see after that game. Nathaniel Carlton has been injured with an injured arm. He is out till the 12th, so he will be back this round, but that's still a pretty substantial injury. Let's go replace player on that, and we'll make some line adjustments here accordingly, but that's not something I wanted to see after the first game, because Carlton's a solid defenseman. He's not going to pick up the craziest amount of points. Like, I think he had a 30-point season, but he's more of a good shutdown guy in a way. We'll move Lindsay up to play with the Holmstrom, and then Strombo is going to get his first ever career playoff game, which is kind of exciting because he was not a full-on roster player during the season. 29 games, which is pretty good. 9 points, though. So maybe this guy could give us a little bit more offense from the back end. This playoff run was actually really good in the AHL, looks like, from point production perspective last season. So excited for Steve to get a chance to play some playoff games. He was a first-round pick, so we'll see what he's able to do playing next to Savage, but it does suck to lose Carlton for a little bit, especially considering he's an 85. And he's still got a couple years left on his contract, which is good. Like, I feel like a lot of our team is still kind of locked up for a little bit, but I am getting scared about guys like Makinen and all that dropping off. Like, there's definitely going to be some retirements in these next few seasons before this franchise mode ends, I feel like. So that's the only adjustment we're going to make, of course. So he's back on the 12th, it said. Which game is that, out of curiosity? So that means he will be back for, I guess, technically a Game 5, if there's a Game 5. So that's not too bad. At least he's not missing too much term. Like, if he was missing, like, the rest of the playoffs, that would be a pretty substantial blow. But our team still should do relatively good defensively without him, I feel like. Like, I feel like Strombo kind of fits like a glove almost on this team, even though he didn't have the best scheme fit. I think he was really good during the season, so excited to see what he could do in the playoffs. Alright, so with that said, let's get to this next playoff game and see if we could take a 2-0 series lead. We do still have home ice advantage, of course, so obviously it's going to make it's going to be more important to win on the road after this game, basically, because it could be one of those series where it goes back and forth, where the home team wins all their games until Game 7, something like that. So let's get to Game 2, see if we could take a 2-0 series lead. Let's just build off last game. Last game was pretty good. We led for most of the game, so no complaints. First period, game number 2. 2-1 us again. Okay, I'll take it. I will take it. Our offense has definitely been pretty good the last number of games. But Crane opens the scoring on the power play. Nice to see the captain on the board. Jacobson answers back. And Trotter gets, I think, his second career playoff goal with a couple minutes left in that period. Shots are 9-9, but it is a 2-1 game. Nicholas is still in net for us this game. He still is kind of a little bit inconsistent. I am still debating about going back to Solovyov, but if Nicholas is going to keep winning games, it's not a huge issue keeping Solovyov as a scratch. Now, Solovyov could definitely get some more games in if Nicholas plays one bad game. So, anyway, shots are even. It's a 2-1 game for us after one, just like last game. Can we find a way to maybe get some insurance so it's a little bit easier for us going into the third? Second period. 5-2 us. Okay, that's pretty good for insurance. Lehman made it 3-1. Kuka made it 3-2, so it was close at that point. And then in the final 3 minutes, we get 2 more goals, Dempsey and Makinen. It's a 5-2 game for us, so we're still playing great offensively, and Columbus is still having that struggle in terms of their defensive play, which is nice to see. Shots are 27-19, so definitely a great second period for our team. Can we find a way to lock this one down and take both of our home games? Let's see what happens. But so far, so good with this team. I was kind of a little bit skeptical that going into this playoffs that we'd be on a 4-game winning streak, but our team has been able to just keep it going, because we're going to be on a 6-game winning streak at the end of this game. Ragnarsson made it 6-2 earlier in this period. We're outshooting by almost 10 shots too, so it's not very close of a game by comparison to Game 1. And that will be the final score, 6-2 with the shots 37-28. So, like I said, not very close. Game 1 was definitely a closer match. But I like the way this team's been playing. Like I said, 6 straight victories, because the only loss we've had was Game 1 against Carolina at this point in time. So Crane from Houghton, that was his second to the playoffs. Then we had Trotter second to the playoffs from Houghton, and Dempsey, Lehman from Ashton, and Kazanov. Dempsey from Schaefer, Makinen from Holmstrom and Scrivens, and Ragnarsson from Lehman and Ashton. Not too bad. Let's take a look at that scoring. So Dempsey, Ashton, Houghton, and Lehman all had 2 points. A bunch of guys on 1 point too, which is great to see the depth show up. And then in terms of the plus-minus, I mean, everybody was pretty good in terms of plus-minus for the most part. Strombo was an even 0 in his first career playoff game, but definitely not a bad first playoff game. And shout out to Terry, who only played 4 minutes in that game. I hope he didn't get injured. Oh no, it looks like we're just not playing our fourth line guys very often. Winchester is probably going to start complaining about ice time, because if him and Terry are only getting 4 minutes a game, Russell's getting 7 minutes. Like, we are technically playing these guys like they're enforcers from back in the early 2000s and 1990s. Like, that's actually insane. And Winchester had a goal last game too, which is also kind of crazy. So those guys do relatively effective work, it seems like. And that was actually the strongest game for Nicholas this postseason. So I like the way Nicholas is starting to trend into being better than he was in the first round. Like I said, game one, he only played. He could have probably got into game two, but I decided to quick yank just because of last year's playoffs as well. But Nicholas is starting to get that confidence back, which is good. So he gets third star, Dempsey second star, and DeLayman got first star. He did have 3 hits in the game, as well as 2 points. Not bad. Let's go to the faceoffs again. Still winning more faceoffs than they are. I feel like our faceoff winning ability is definitely a thing that helps us a bit. We do win more offensively minded draws, and that probably gives us a better chance to score off the faceoff and all that. So nice to take those first 2 home games. We outscored them on home ice by a score of 10-5, so pretty damn good. Now comes the important part, though, of finding ways to win on the road, because that's what every good cup-winning team does, is win on the road as well. So let's keep the team the same. We're going to keep Nicholas in net. Maybe Solovyov won't come back until the conference finals, which is still probably a bit controversial because you guys probably really liked how he played in that first round, and I really did as well. But we might as well just go with the goaltender that just keeps winning games. So, like, if Nicholas eventually starts losing a bunch and starts playing like shit, you know easily that we're going to go to Solovyov. So let's get to game number 3. We are in Columbus now. Can we take a 3-0 series lead? Can we find a way to win in their building? That would be awesome. First period. 1-0 us. Good defensive period for our team. Ragnarsson opens the scoring. Ragnarsson's definitely been our best goal scorer this playoffs. I think that's his 6th of the playoffs already, which is probably up there for one of the most in the league at the moment, my guess. Shots are 10-8 in favor of us as well, so pretty even first period in terms of generating chances, but we do have the 1 goal advantage. Can we keep that in the second period? Second period? Still, actually, no, it's not 1-0. Oh, man, I thought it said 1-0 still, but Jacobson ties it up on the power play for them. Shots are 25-17, so Nicholas is playing okay, but obviously it does suck that we have 8 more shots than they do, but we have the exact same amount of goals. Like, I kind of want a little bit more out of Nicholas, but I guess it's not really his fault. The offense just needs to find a way to get going a bit more in the third, I guess. They are generating the chances, though. So can we find a way to get that lead back in the third period? Third period underway. Come on, boys. Power play for us. We do not score. That's unfortunate. And then they score. Lockhart makes it a 2-1 Blue Jackets game. Power play for us. We do not score. Penalty kill. You got to kill this off, boys. And we do not kill it off. Morrow makes it 3-1. And this is the exact type of game that Nicholas will be probably getting taken out of. Strompolopoulos pulls us within 1. That's his first career playoff goal in his second game. But that is not enough, as we're going to lose 3-2 in game 3. That's unfortunate because we outshot them 43-25. So that game's probably more on Nicholas than anything, because we didn't give them a lot of chances. They scored 3 goals. We scored 2 goals on 43 shots, so you should get better offensive results too maybe in that game. But I would probably say Nicholas was a bit at fault in that one. But Ragnarsson from Lehman and Ashton, and we give up 3 unanswered goals. And then Strombo got his first career playoff goal, which is awesome, from Trotter. So nice to see him kind of come into the lineup and do decently. But I do need better goaltending results. Like, an 875 save percentage to me is kind of too low for Nicholas, to be honest. Like, I like it when guys get above a 900 save percentage, which doesn't really happen that often. And all 3 other guys are stars in that one. So Moore had probably his best playoff game of the season so far. All right, so let's go make some adjustments. We're probably going to go to Solovyov for the next game, which might be... know it's not really controversial probably at this point, but we'll go to Solovyov for game 4. Carlton should be back for game 5, which is good, so that might give us a bit of a boost, but then again, Strombo was really good in that last game. I don't know if there's any other adjustments I would make. Probably not, but I'm just hoping that our team doesn't randomly go on a 4-game losing streak, so... Yeah, Nicholas has an 895 save percentage. And if we look at his game logs from the playoff games he's played this year, an 886 and 889, so he did get a little bit better. Then he gets really good 929, but then drops back off to a bad game. So I think we are definitely going to go to Solovyov for this next game, because he's been a bit more consistent. And then from our rest of our team standpoint, I don't think there's any adjustments I would make. Maybe I could put Ragnarsson top line, because Scrivens only has the 1 goal Yeah, we'll get Scrivens back on that second line again. Regnerson is definitely proving to me he should be in the spot. Lehman originally was in that spot, but I've really liked how Regnerson's been playing as of late. He has 6 goals and assists, so he's pretty much the reverse of Scrivens, a kind of proven goal scorer right now. So I think that's the only adjustment we're going to make going into this next one. So let's see if the team's able to respond after that loss. That was our first loss since game 1 of the first round, so let's just not get on a losing streak. Let's find a way to respond, take a 3-1 series lead, and then hopefully we can find a way to win the next game as well. So, game number 4 in Columbus. Can we find a way to respond after a loss like we did in round 1? First period. 1-1. I mean, that's better than being down after 1. Howden opens the scoring. Hakkarainen and ties it up late. Shots are 17-7 in favor of Columbus. So maybe Solovyov is kind of a cheese goaltender, which is kind of weird saying that because he was really good in his prime, but he's a low overall, but he's simulated so good so far. 17 shots against in the first period, though, is not good to give up that many chances because eventually they should find ways to score more than 1 goal against us because of that, but if Solovyov plays like he did in the first round, maybe he could just shut the door on them and maybe our offense could find a way, but we definitely haven't been scoring as much in these last 2 games as I'd like, so maybe more offensive adjustments are coming, but let's see, can we find a way to get that lead back in a second? Second period. 3-1 Blue Jackets. Oh man, this is tough for Solovyov. It's still not on him, I would say. Lyon scores on the power play, and Villette. It's a 3-1 lead for the Blue Jackets going into the third, so it looks like potentially they're going to take both of their home games after we took both of our own. So shots 28-16 in favor of them. Damn, they're outplaying us quite a bit, but we're only down by 2, so we're still in this game. If we could get an early goal in the third, we definitely could still tie it, but our team definitely needs to limit the chances. Like I said, this isn't an on Solovyov. This is just we're giving up too many grade A chances, especially in that first period. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. Can we get back in this game? Kuka makes it 4-1. Well, that's probably not going to happen now because I don't see a 3 unanswered goal come back as Mäkinen makes it a 4-2 game. Any other goals for us on this side? Can we score? Oh, maybe there is a comeback coming. Trotter makes it a 4-3 game. Can we find a way to tie it? There is still time on the clock. Yes, we can. Okay, I didn't see a 3-goal comeback coming, but it did happen. Houghton gives us the lead, and Terry gets his first career playoff goal, I think, as well, and we win 6-4. Well, I did not see that coming. I think Solovyov is still the star of this game. Because obviously that first period we could have been completely routed, and it was a 1-1 game after 1. 17 shots to 7. They outplay us in the second period, go up by 2 goals, but then when they went up by 3 goals, I'm like, this is over at that point. But Mäkinen scores to make it a 4-2 game. Trotter made it 4-3. Kazanov tied the game up, and then we managed to get a goal in those final few minutes as well from Houghton, and Terry gets one as well. Total of 4 goals in the final 9 minutes of that one, and we've taken a 3-1 stranglehold on the Blue Jackets, despite them outshooting us 39-31. So that is definitely a game where I think the goaltender stole us the show, and our offense found its hotness at the right time. So Houghton from Schaefer and Kazanov, that's his first goal of the playoffs apparently, which is kind of crazy. Then we had Mäkinen from Regnerson and Holmstrom, Trotter from Dempsey and Kazanov from Houghton and Dempsey. Houghton second of the night and second of the playoffs from Lehman and Ashton, and Terry second of the playoffs from Holmstrom and Russell. Damn. That is one of those type of games that I was not expecting to see, and I meant to move my face down here. Sorry about that. Or up here, I meant to say. But a couple guys on 3 points, Houghton and Kazanov. Then we had Dempsey and Holmstrom on 2 points. Bunch of guys on 1 point. So our team got hot at the right moment, which was that third period. A lot of good plus minuses as well. And in the goaltending results, you could see Solovyov had an 897, but I'd say that's mainly because of how the team played in front of him in that second period and also in that first period. But in that third period, when we went down 4-1, he basically was able to shut the door the rest of the game, and our team managed to start finding its offense. So I'd still say Solovyov was very good in that game, even though it was a below a 900 save percentage. But Houghton first star, Kuka the second star, and Kazanov the third star. Alright, so we've taken a 3-1 series lead. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be a 2-2 series because of how we played in those first 2 periods of the last game, but Carlson is back, and we have a chance to close out the Blue Jackets. We have a chance to close them out. That's good. How is Strombo's numbers looking? I know he had that one goal, of course, but what about the plus minus? +1. Strombo did his job. Nice to see. Carlton is back, and maybe that'll give us a little bit of a boost defensively. All right, perfect. So the team is back to full health for this next game. Can we find a way to close out the Blue Jackets now? Can we find a way to do it? They are 5-5 versus 7-2 in the playoffs. We've been pretty much cruising since first game of the last round. So can we find a way to close out the Blue Jackets? Or is this team going to somehow find a way to lose 3 straight games after last game looked like it was going to be a guaranteed loss, but that third period was really good. I feel like I need to put Solovyov back in again. Like I said, I don't really blame that game on him, even though we did win it. I think he was fantastic enough that he gave us a chance, and then our team just got hot at the right time. So we are a little bit lucky we won that one, but I think for the most part, the only adjustment is just putting Solovyov in net again. I could always make some more adjustments, maybe to the top 9 a bit, kind of flip-flop people, but I think for the most part, we'll just run with this. So I think having Carlton as well back will help us play a little bit better defensively, because we kind of lost that defensive identity in that game, even though we just won it. So if we could get back to where we were, that would be nice. But let's get to game number 5 and see if we could close out the Blue Jackets and see if Carlton can make a good presence coming back into the lineup as well. We're back on home ice for this game. So first period. 1-0 us. Good defensive start. Mäkinen opens the scoring. Shots are 14-10 in favor of the Blue Jackets. Still loving the way Solovyov's playing. And good to see us having the lead after 20 minutes. Shots are 14-10. Pretty even period, I would say, for the most part. Not really any team running away with it. Can we find a way to keep this lead intact going into the third as well? Second period. 2-1 us. Okay, we do have a 1-goal lead still, but Dempsey made it 2-0, and a late goal from O'Neill makes it a 1-goal game. Look at the shots, though. 27-19 in favor of Columbus. So this is the type of game where we're not playing great in front of Solovyov, but he's finding ways to win and stop pucks. Solovyov is probably trying to be the biggest hero if possible. Like, he was maybe the guy we needed to go to all along in trying to win a Stanley Cup. Now, we did try and win cups with him before, but the team just could not find ways to win. Now that he's a lower overall, he's been the best goaltender we've had probably in quite some time. So can we find a way to close this game out in the third period and close out the series? Let's see what happens. Third period underway. And we immediately get a goal from Lehman, so that's a huge one for the insurance. Love to see that. Can we find a way to just hold on to this for the rest of the way, potentially? Penalty kill to 5-on-3, and we killed it off. Nicely done, boys. Look at the shots, though. My God. Solovyov is a machine. Greening pulls them within 1. That's not great. Final few minutes. Can we hold them off? The answer is yes, we can. A 3-2 victory, and that's back-to-back 5-game series as we have taken out the Blue Jackets now, and we have found ourselves back to that conference finals again. Let's go. Final shots 41-30 in favor of the Blue Jackets, but another great game from Solovyov. He is my MVP of this team right now, I would say. Up there with some other dudes probably, but Mäkinen from Ragnarsson and Crane. We had Dempsey from Houghton and Schaefer, and the game-winning goal in 27 seconds into that third period is Lehman from Ashton and Scrivens. Let's go. So a bunch of guys on 1 point, nobody with multiple points. Couple bad plus minuses, which is just -1, but that's okay. Carlson was one of them. And goaltending, look at that Solovyov, man. .951. Solovyov's the man. He's 37 years old, but he's playing like he probably should have when he was like 27 or 28. But he gets first star of the game. Lehman second star. Dempsey the third star. All right. Well, that was an interesting series because, like I said, I thought it was going to be a 2-2 series, and then we flipped the script in that third period, and we ended up winning in 5. So this team is full of surprises, and there is a chance we might be playing the New York Rangers in the conference finals. And what did I say a couple episodes ago? Guerin was injured to start the playoffs, and now that he comes back, he's going to help them win a Stanley Cup. And I hope I am wrong, but I still feel like the Rangers are the favorite because Guerin missed the beginning of the playoffs. Now that he's back, he could carry that team into being a cup contender again. So Kind of a scared about that, but hopefully we find a way to beat them if we do face them. It could be still Montreal, which would also not be great for us because we've had bad luck with Canadian teams in the conference finals before. All right, let's take a look at some stats here. So in terms of our player stats so far for this postseason, wow, I'm actually surprised on who's leading us in points. But let's start with the forwards. We have 3 guys that are point per game, those being Mackinnon, Dempsey, and Lehman. Kind of surprised Dempsey's had that much points because he's a third-line guy, but shout out to those guys. And then Ragnarsson's on 9 points. He got 6 goals. Ashton's on 9 points. Like, in general, we're getting good goal scoring from a lot of different people. So it's been the entire team basically stepping up at the moment. From a defensive standpoint, though, the leader in points was Houghton, 12 points in 10 games. He's 35 years old, but he's still picking up really good offensive numbers. This could be still his last season in the NHL, which is unfortunate, but it will free us up a lot of cap space probably, which is good. Holmstrom on 7 points is fantastic as well. Schaefer 5 points plus 7. Lindsay 2 points plus 6. Strabo with the 1 goal in 3 games. Carlson 1 goal in 7 games. And Savage 1 assist in 10 games. From a goaltending perspective, though, look at that, man. Solovyov is 6-0 with 1 shutout, a .952 save percentage, and a 1.5 goals against. So obviously it got a little bit worse, but he still has fantastic numbers for 6 games. Like, I could still go to Nicholas for game 1 of the conference finals, but Solovyov literally probably is the guy for the rest of this playoff run almost based on these numbers. But I do still kind of want to give Nicholas some games just to see if his confidence could come back at all. But Solovyov might be the guy to help cheese us to a Stanley Cup victory in terms of his goaltending numbers. So there is all that. The question I have is, are we going to be playing the Rangers or the Habs in the conference finals? I really hope it is... Who do I hope out of those 2 teams? Probably the Habs. I know the Habs have beaten us in the conference finals before, but the Rangers... I just don't really want to go up against Guerin, to be honest. I just don't. Because Guerin is straight up like he's the best player in the league, basically, at this point in time. Let's see. Do we got an answer on who we're facing? It will be the Rangers. God damn it, man. A Battle of New York in the conference finals would actually be quite crazy. And that is going to be the case here. 46, 31, and 5 for them during the season. They were 3-4 and 3 going into the playoffs. But like I said, Guerin was injured to start the playoffs. And now he's there. They did bring in also Leeson as an insurance marker at the trade deadline. And he is leading them in points right now, apparently. But you look at these playoff matchup numbers. They are first in goals for per game this playoff run, averaging 4.09. We're averaging 3.8. So pretty close, good offensive teams. We are way better defensively than them right now, though. 2.1 goals against. They are averaging 3 goals against. They are number 1 on the power play at 29.4%. We're third on the power play, but we're 9% worse pretty much than they are, which is absolutely insane. And in penalty kill percentage, they're surprisingly better, 87.2 to our 82.8. Let's do a regular season comparison as well while we're at it. But, oh man, of course we have to go up against the Rangers. Like I said, I think they're a cup contender, even though they've finished technically, I think, as a wild card team. So I am a bit scared. Even though we just knocked out 2 teams that are right around their same point, I just feel like the Rangers are the best team that is in the Eastern Conference right now. Like, they could be better than us, basically. It's a little bit weird. They scored more goals than us during the regular season. They scored actually a total of 10 exactly. They were actually a worse defensive team than us. They allowed 14 more goals against. Our power play was worse than theirs by 0.6%, so not really a big one there. And then penalty kill, we actually had a better penalty kill by 0.8%. So special teams are relatively even based on that. Let's take a look at the Rangers. We've played them a lot in the playoffs as well, like a couple times, but Guerin is definitely the main threat we got to watch out for. I know he's back from injury too, because I'm pretty sure he was only injured for like a few games in that first round. So here's what the Rangers are looking like. And yeah, this is kind of scary. So Guerin, 33 years old, 97 overall. 11 points in 9 games as well. God damn. $595 million. He's already signed a 4-year extension, which means even though I wanted to maybe potentially at some point bring this guy in free agency, he already has an extension in place. And I bet you it's like $25 million. That's probably ridiculous. We'll definitely take a look at that in the offseason eventually, if you guys remind me. But This guy's insane. We know he's really good. He's got 4 Richards at this point, 2 Art Rosses, 4 Lindsays, 1 Hart, a Conn Smythe, a Stanley Cup over a decade ago. He's only got the 1 cup, which is surprising. And then he's also got the Calder 15 years ago. This guy's probably the Connor McDavid, basically, of this franchise mode. He's absolutely insane. And he hasn't really even dropped off at all either for being 33 years old. Crazy. Like, he could probably play till 40. And if you look at his career stats, 1,636 points. And in playoffs, he's got 160 points in 141 games. He's absolutely cracked. But he's playing next to Brad Anderson, who we know is that medium elite grinder. 2nd overall pick 6 years ago. And then Quincy Wallace, who used to play with us, and he's been very good because he's playing with Guerin for a long, long time. Second line has Vyacheslav Kagorodov, Caden Halschuk, and there's Jakob Leeson, who, like I said, they brought him in at the trade deadline. He's leading their team in points. He was over point per game when they brought him in as well. And, yeah, he's been very good. He used to play with us quite a few years back. I kind of wish I would have held on to him a bit longer, but didn't realize he was going to become that good. Third line has Jamie Schrader as well as Julius, or I will say Julius, but Julius sounds better. Julius Gargulio, 35 years old. Damn, this guy's dropped off a ton. And he's also playing with Laurent Darche. And in a fourth line of Braden Parse, Sergei Nikitin, who's a defenseman playing center. Damn, that's actually kind of insane. How's his face-off percentage? I'm kind of curious on that. He has 10 points in 16 games during the regular season, 6 points in 11 playoff games. Damn, they're getting good depth scoring. But how's his face-off percentage? 38.61%, which might help us a bit because that just means we could win face-offs on that fourth line against a guy like this. He is an OFD, so I could see why he's producing, but goddamn. And there's also Brody LaBarbera. So from an offensive standpoint, they're very top 6 heavy or first line heavy, but they have that very good depth scoring. Like, there's a lot of people even on the fourth line that are half a point a game, basically. From a defensive standpoint, Emmanuel Marleau playing next to Matt Schroeder. Craig Cassivi is over there now, too. Damn, Craig Cassivi's a Ranger. He used to play with us as well for a little bit. We drafted this guy. Didn't give him a huge opportunity, but yeah, he's now a Ranger. He's on 7 points in 11 games. God damn, man. But he's playing with Mika Nokalainen. They also have Liam Johansson and Noel Sparks. Why do I recognize Noel Sparks? Oh, he was drafted by the Rangers. Maybe that's why. I was like, did I ever have that guy like on my team? But I guess not. Goaltending-wise, Taro Tulola is still there, and Ludwig Vikingstad is their backup as well. They've always had good goaltenders, too, in this franchise mode, so kind of scared on that. Scratches, Oleg Grigorenko, Jimmy Thomas. What a name. Good old Jimmy Thomas. And Jalen Reese. So, yeah, I am a little bit nervous. They might not be the strongest team in terms of their depth and their defensive core, but they have the great goaltending and all that. And like I said a couple episodes ago, Guerin was injured to start the playoffs to make them look like an underdog, and then they're going to actually, since he's back now, they're going to be really good and find a way to win the Stanley Cup. If we find a way to beat them, that'd be absolutely fantastic, but I do not feel really safe going into the playoffs against them at all. Like, if we go to their stats from the regular season, I know that obviously Guerin had 80 goals and all that, but let's take a look at some of their stats from the regular season and playoffs a bit more. But you can see their depth scoring is fantastic. Guerin and Wallace are really good. Leeson came in and was fantastic with them, was really good with the Jets too early in the season. Anderson was point per game. Yeah, they're just getting a ton of offense. Their defensive core really doesn't pick up as much offense. Like, if we go to their defensive stats, Nikitin's playing forward, basically. Everybody else is like 20 points below. It's not the craziest offensive results from the back end. But goaltending, I mean, Vikingstad's a fantastic backup. Tulola, how is he doing so far in the playoffs? So, a 918. Damn, that's better than I expected. Oh, man. I am scared as hell to go up against Guerin. I just am. Like, that guy is definitely a huge difference maker. And containing him is going to be very tough. I mean, we are a good defensive team, but it's still going to be tough. And you can see their depth scoring. Like, Guerin's literally missed 2 games in the playoffs, and he's right up there with them in points. Like, he does not slow down at all. Like, I could see this guy playing till the end of this franchise mode and maybe even playing 5 more years if the franchise mode went to 30 years instead. But He absolutely doesn't slow down. And, like, look at that depth scoring. Like, you're getting guys on the fourth line that are still picking up good numbers. So it's both teams have good depth, I guess. And then defensively, Cassivi's leading away, but you have some guys with some really good plus-minus, including Johansson. And then from a goaltending perspective, Tulola is rocking a .917 save percentage, as I mentioned. Viking stats played a little bit of the game, and he has not been very good so far. All right. I don't really know what to think. I know that it's going to be a tough matchup for us. I think on paper we have the better depth, but both of us have depth that's showing up in terms of scoring, so it could be a pretty even matchup. And it is definitely going to be a tough task for us. Whoever wins the series will face either Vegas or Edmonton for the Cup. And if you remember, our first Cup finals, pretty much of this franchise mode, one of the first Cups, which was 2036. We actually played off against the Edmonton Oilers and lost before, so could end up being a rematch of that. But Vegas is good too. They actually have, I think, a franchise player, if I remember, Davidson. So there's some really tough teams still left in this playoff race. And I know that we're a good team and we've been very far in the playoffs before, but I feel like we're probably maybe the third best team in this playoff race at the moment. We do have probably the most experience, but we have not won a cup yet, so that's not on our side, really. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of New York Islanders franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the conference finals against Garrett and the New York Rangers as we look to beat this guy and hopefully find a way to get ourselves to that cup finals again for the third consecutive year. And if we do so, hopefully we can find a way to win the cup this year. If we're a conference finals exit again this year, it'll really suck. But I almost feel like that's not necessarily guaranteed, but it's probably like over 50% that the Rangers could find a way to beat us just because they have Karen. And I don't really know if there's a way to contain that guy. So I think that below, and I'll see you guys next time.